When you step off a cruise ship in Lisbon, the clock is already bleeding. You have exactly 8 hours before the gangway pulls up and the ship is leaving with or without you. Geography is not on your side. Your ship docks east at Santa Apollonia, but the Hieronymus Monastery and original bakeries are far west in Belém. You cannot walk that distance. You must rely on transit to cross the entire city. Every minute you spend negotiating a cab fare or fumbling through a pastry order is a minute subtracted from your actual vacation. Logistical friction is the primary drain on a short port day itinerary. The path of least resistance is to rely completely on English. In Lisbon's tourist zones, people will understand you, but defaulting to English often triggers the tourist script. You become more vulnerable to flat-rate upcharges in taxis and standardized service at every stop. The alternative is trying to speak European Portuguese, which usually scares people off. The language is fast, the vowels vanish mid-word, and it sounds nothing like what you might have heard in Brazil. There is a third option. We call it microfluency. You don't need to learn the whole language. You just need to internalize 10 to 15 highly specific phrases. This chart shows the logic of a targeted efficiency investment. We are identifying the specific prep that buys back the most time and money once you're on the ground. Your first test happens the second you leave the terminal at Santa Apollonia and walk up to the taxi rank. Drivers know you are in a hurry to get to Belém. Many will quote you a flat rate to skip the meter, often bumping the price up by 30% or more. You block that by looking at the driver and saying, "Pelo taxímetro, por favor?" By the meter, please. That single sentence signals that you know how the system works. It breaks the assumption that you're a traveler who hasn't done their homework. Looking back at our chart, we can see Pelo taxímetro plotting into the high-impact corner. It provides immediate financial defense, saving you euros before you've been off the ship for 10 minutes. Once you reach Belém, the pressure shifts. You are now in high-volume environments, standing in tight lines for famous pastry shops and historical entry gates. If you point at the counter and ask for 2 coffees in English, you force the busy staff into a slow, multi-step translation process. You bypass this by swapping in localized nouns. You ask for dois pastéis, and instead of a generic café, you order uma bica, the specific term for a Lisbon espresso. Even if you know some Brazilian Portuguese, you have to be careful here. Asking for the banheiro will out you as a tourist instantly. In Lisbon, you must ask for the casa de banho. Using precise local terms signals competence to the staff. They drop the tourist script and process your order immediately. This updated chart shows how bica and casa de banho build on that efficiency. You buy back minutes of your vacation by clearing the confusion at every counter. Up to this point, we've saved money and time. But a cruise port day can often feel detached from the actual city you're visiting. To bridge that gap, you need the ultimate Lisboeta slang word, fixe. It translates roughly to cool, nice, or great. You deploy this when your driver points out the April 25th bridge, or the second the baker hands you a plate of warm pastries. When a visitor uses that specific word correctly in conversation, the local reaction is usually an immediate and genuine smile. That one word breaks the transactional barrier. It shifts the interaction from a generic tourist encounter to a mutual acknowledgement, earning the kind of hospitality often hidden from day trippers. Relying strictly on English is the path of least resistance, but it often leaves you stuck in standardized tourist loops and paying higher prices. If you are a time-poor optimizer, your strategy is simple. Memorize the transit phrases. Use them to strictly protect your 8-hour schedule and your wallet. If you want to connect with the city, focus on the local nouns and slang. Use them to step out of the cruise passenger bubble. But seeing these words written down isn't enough. The tight, compressed European Portuguese accent is the real barrier to actually saying them out loud. To actually see the return on this effort, you have to solve that pronunciation gap before you ever leave the ship. That is exactly what the Street Tongue app is built for. It bridges the gap between reading a phrase and having the confidence to speak it. Unlike generic language apps, Street Tongue skips the textbook filler. It drills city-level street dialects and scores your pronunciation so you know you're getting it right. Dedicate 30 minutes to the app's Lisbon protocol while you're drinking coffee on your balcony the morning you arrive. That is all it takes. We want to know what logistical hurdles you face. Drop a comment below with a specific travel story where a language barrier cost you either time or money. Your friction points directly dictate which city and dialect protocol we break down in the next video.